Hey everyone, I'm going to try something different this year and talk to you about World History 1 and talk about the syllabus through a video. And you can also find the copy of the World History syllabus on the Schoology page in the yellow folder. So I spent some time this summer trying to think about and really articulate why I think history and the study of history is so important. It's always been important to me. I've always loved to know about the past, but sometimes I think I've not always articulated well why you should care about it too. So I'm going to give it a try. As you guys can see, I selected a few images here as things that I think are important to understand in historical context that really impact us directly today. The Black Lives Matter movement and social justice movements that have gained a lot of momentum in the previous months have to be understood in historical context, I think. And also the way the pandemic has impacted us can be understood in historical context. The image on the left is a picture I took when I was in Beijing in 2016 when Obama was still president. And the way the Chinese understand Obama is really different from how Americans do. And they kind of have a play on words here on Obama and Mao. So the most important thing I think really is that history doesn't just help you understand the society you live in and to recognize patterns and how it functions. Ultimately, it really helps you understand yourself and how you fit into things and why you think the way you do and why things are the way they are in your life. So it's very personal, and I think that if you take it seriously, it'll really make a difference in your life. Studying history can help you figure out how to make society better. I think it helps you craft a vision of what a good or just society means for you. Studying history will help you understand social change, what drives it, and what roles individuals can play. Studying history will help you think critically about your own values as you empathize with and learn about the values and worldviews of peoples and cultures from different times, different places that were very different from your own, but also what sort of commonalities and universal patterns emerge by looking at such a rich diversity over time and place about how people lived. And then you can go back and weigh your values against those and figure out in the end what you think is right and how you think a good and just society looks. But perhaps most of all, oh, I skipped a slide. Perhaps most of all, I really think that studying history can literally make you happier. And studying history can really literally make you have a more meaningful life. Why is this? I think it's because studying history helps you literally go outside your own frame of reference, your own worldview, to go beyond yourself as individuals and see yourself as part of a much larger historical whole, even a cosmic process. And I think we can live richer lives also when we're able to make connections, when we're able to have a body of knowledge and understanding in our minds from a study of history to appreciate the connections and patterns in life. And I know that's true for me, and I hope after a thorough study of history, it'll also be true to you. I really think transcending one's individual self and feeling connected to a broader purpose or a broader whole and making connections are two key ingredients to living a happy and meaningful life. So here's some things that happen when you study history that I hope will happen this year. You'll learn to empathize with and inhabit the worldview of different cultures, and then go back and weigh those values against your own with the ultimate goal of you getting to decide what you think the ultimate right systems of values are. Making connections between different themes, ideas, movements, etc. Throughout the world, and so you can see yourself as part of a larger global whole. You'll understand patterns and processes at work in your own society from having studied patterns and processes at work in global history. You'll understand how and why societies evolved and changed and how our own society came to as a result of a long process of historical development. You'll use your knowledge to think critically about your values, think about what it means to make a just or a good society. And ultimately, all of this information and thinking and reflection will empower you to make ethical change in the world. Okay, so some of the skills you'll learn, academically speaking: how to organize information, how to read challenging college level texts, or really even beyond if you would like to, how to write coherent, well organized paragraphs that are idea driven and use supporting evidence to validate your claims. You learn to think like a historian in that you'll ask questions about continuity and change over time, make comparisons and connections, ask about cause-effect relationships, and explain significance in history. You'll learn how to analyze sources, know the difference between primary and secondary sources, and use both kinds in developing historical arguments. You'll also analyze different points of view and learn to appreciate variety of perspectives. We'll learn different kinds of key historical and social science concepts that will apply when we look at different eras and places. You'll learn to differentiate between facts and interpretations from a variety of sources, both academic and in the media, in order to think critically as scholars and as citizens. And last but not least, you'll use your historical knowledge and skills as a foundation for civic engagement in the world. So some of the big questions that will tie together the work we do this year, studying the early origins of humankind up through about the early modern world. What are the effects of geography on civilization? How does religion influence civilization and affect the interactions between different civilizations? Why and how did states develop, interact, and what is the importance of leadership and political philosophy in governance? How does commerce and trade act as a conduit for culture, technology, and change, or vice versa? In what ways have gender, class distinction, and other ways of categorizing people defined who has power and who doesn't? How have these social categories changed or stayed the same over time and across civilizations? And why and how does social change happen? Okay, slide. Okay, there we go. Wait, hold on. Okay. All right, here's some of the people and places we'll study. Starting with the early origins of Homo sapiens in East Africa and the migration of humankind. We'll look at first river civilizations, like this is an image from Mohenjo-Daro. We'll go to the ancient Mediterranean and study ancient Greece and ancient Persia, spend some time in ancient Rome, which is important for understanding the foundations of the American state, the United States. We'll be in China and look at the development of civilization and states in China. We'll travel to India and look at the development of states and different ways of organizing society there. We'll spend some time in sub-Saharan Africa looking at the development of Nubia and Kush and Great Zimbabwe and other important independent African kingdoms and states. We'll travel to the Americas and look at sort of the independent development of civilization before any kind of contact with the Eastern Hemisphere. We'll look at the way trade has influenced change in the world between about 500 and 1500, especially in the Indian Ocean and the Silk Roads and the Trans-Saharan roads. We'll study the explosion of Islam as a religion and as a political entity. This is a photo from the Great Mosque at Cordoba, one of my very favorite places in the whole world. We'll study early Christendom too, and its emergence from the ashes of the Roman Empire through the devastation of the Black Death, and globally also both the benefits and also the devastation caused by the Mongols. And then we'll finish up in the spring with changes in Europe, notably the Italian Renaissance. And there we will end, and Mr. Gollier will take it from there next year with you. Okay, alongside all of that, we are going to be doing research and critical thinking and source analysis in this framework I call History 360. And so we'll start this fall with a unit on civic online reasoning, learning how to interpret and analyze the information that we are getting from the media. And you guys will keep a current events journal and apply some of the skills that we'll learn in the first few weeks of the year. And you'll develop knowledge, a deep knowledge of one particular current event or issue that you feel really connected to or passionate about. And then later in the fall semester, you will develop a research question kind of rooted in that issue, but going back into the past to try to understand something about how we got to where we are. And that will be the focus of our work in about December and January and February. And those of you who would like to compete in the National History Day competition may absolutely still do so. I would love to support you doing that, but it's not actually required for anyone, but it is a fun option if you do enjoy research. And then in the spring, everyone will develop a civic action plan, again, kind of tied back to your current issue research, but informed more deeply by your historical research. So there's much more detail on that in the yellow folder in Schoology. Okay, so I will go to the next slide. And here, please let me know if you have any questions, and do read over the syllabus in paper copy if you want to have more detail on anything I've discussed today.